Let me say that when I do talk to veterans, they generally uniformly tell me one thing, and that is that my wife does a great job for the veterans of Kentucky and of America, and I'm very proud of the work she does. Heather?
Well, I just wanted to let Stephen know, I just told the members from the NAACP that you actually qualify now for their benefits, so they're going to be signing you up in just a few moments. However, I am not old enough to qualify, but I think as a spouse, don't I have like spousal benefits? So there we go. We will be partaking of that. It's always great to be back in my second home at Owensboro. Of course, you know about Steve, but I and the children have really taken such a liking to Owensboro. I have worked a lot with your local American Legion on several different events, and you are very lucky in this town to have veteran service organizations like your VFW and American Legion who do an extraordinary amount of outreach in your community, and we wish that for all communities. But you know me, you've known my history about veterans issues. That is one of my #1 priorities. And I was just in Washington, D.C. yesterday getting briefed by the Undersecretary of Intergovernmental Affairs. And what's interesting about government or Veterans Affairs right now is people are always thinking about the military and veterans at a time of war. That's very easy for civilians to do because you see it on the news and you hear it on the radio. But in peacetime, where we have not been before Iraq started, you know, the condition of our Department of Veterans Affairs was very dire. And now we're just starting to catch up. But I've got to have more help in Washington to talk about preventative measures for our future veterans, those men and women who are coming home from Iraq and Afghanistan, who are being discharged, and who are what we call the baby veterans, because the Department of Defense takes care of them while they're in the military. Department of Veterans Affairs takes care of them when they sign up, just like WIP, when you get them to sign up for their services. But the group that we're most concerned about right now are what we call our baby veterans, those men and women who are just getting discharged, who are coming home. And here in Kentucky especially, where so many of our guardsmen and reservists are serving in active duty and then coming home straight into our communities and are expecting to go back to work or expecting to get back into the community, there are several things that the Department of Veterans Affairs really wants to see done. And they can only do these things if you have senators and congresspeople who are willing to put forth the effort to do that. And one of these programs is called 5250. Now, some of y'all who have been around World War II, you remember after the war, when these men and women came home and were discharged, and if they didn't have full-time employment, the government offered some financial assistance to these men and women, and it was called, you could get $50 a week for 52 weeks a year, and that helped out to offset the cost of grocery or the cost of living. And yesterday, sitting at the Department of Veterans Affairs, they want to re-implement that program, because right now, if a family, once they get out of the service, if they become homeless and lose their house, then the Department of Veterans Affairs can help pick them up, but not till then. So we really have to work on preventative measures, because it's not fair to those men and women who have fought for our country that we have to make them become homeless before we can help them. And we're not talking about just a handout, but a hand up to a better way of life, and they deserve that. And also job transference skills. Department of Defense does an extraordinary job of training our men and women to defend our country, but what happens once they get out of the service? Does their job that they're being trained for in the service transfer to a job when they're out of the service? Right now we have big problems with them being job ready in the civilian world. So that's number 2. And then 3 is really helping to get the downlog of the back claims on disability claims and benefits. Right now we're backlogged 800,000 claims for our veterans. That means if you give my foundation a claim for your disability, or if you're a Vietnam veteran and you need to be compensated for Agent Orange, that means you're going to be 800,001 on that backlog of claim. And what they told me yesterday in Washington was the only thing that can facilitate those needs is hands. They have to have the approval to hire as many hands as it takes to get those claims through. And I need someone like Bruce Lunsford in Washington, D.C., who is willing to take what the Department of Veterans Affairs needs and actually put it into action. Because I am tired of fighting and jumping over obstacles in Washington, D.C. And Bruce Lunsford has made a commitment to our American heroes that they will be a priority when he gets in office. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to you your next United States Senator, Bruce Lunsford.
I was down here for the barbecue last weekend, and you know, Ken was very hospitable to me in the sense that I got to meet all the teams all competing against each other. But unfortunately, my friend Bill Latta came over from Henderson. We had to taste everything. So by the end of the day, you know, I looked like I had doubled in size, but I never get tired of it, and I'm glad today, as soon as I get finished, I'm going straight for it. But anyway, everybody's not kind to be here and endure this. And, you know, when you come to Moonlite Barbecue, you know, one thing you have to understand is you get barbecue, but you also have to deal with a little politics. I mean, that's the history. It's been around a long time, and the former president was here with us today, and I know he's been here numerous times over the years. And I always enjoy coming to the city, and glad to be here today, but particularly glad I'm with a homeboy. I'm with your old special homeboy, and one of the proudest things that I had in the campaign last year, the proudest thing was that he won Owensboro. He should have won, but I ran second in Owensboro. So I thought that was a pretty good sign. And we were here many times in the governor's race, and we were here together at times. But this is an issue. This is an issue-based campaign. In November, the winner of this race, Tuesday, which we hope will be us, and I want your help. I want your support, and we'd like to carry some momentum, because in November we're going to be running against someone who's been part and parcel of the trends of the last 6 to 8 years with the Bush administration. We have a situation where the American dollar is no longer valued. We've lost all our wealth and prestige worldwide. We have a war that nobody can quite figure out why we were there to begin with. We have a recession, and we have health care that doesn't take care of everyone. And it was great. We have the ladies from the ARP back here, and I love the fact that my passion in last year's governor's race is still is today, universal health care. And I was glad to see these ladies have asked me to sign their petition. I'm glad I got some allies, because when I get up there, we're going to get that done. And we are going to have a Democrat president in November. It's going to be a great opportunity. And Kentucky has a Democratic governor. They need at least one Democratic U.S. senator. And I believe this is our year. And when I look at Senator Mitch McConnell, who's been there 24 years. 24 years is a long time. And since October, he spent $4 million of money. $4 million of that money he's pulled in from the oil industry, that money he's pulled in from the pharmaceutical industry, and every special interest groups. In that length of time, he spent $4 million polishing up his apple and his shine. And he has run against nothing but tall grass, and he can't get his approval rating over 48%. That's usually a sign. That's usually a sign you're at the end of your career. And we believe that when people have to start asking him the questions we're going to make them ask, that's going to go from 48 to 46 to 44 to 42 to 40. And we're going to win in November with the help of the AFL-CIO, with the help of Change to Win, with the help of the unions that make up those organizations, from the mine workers and steel workers. And we're going to carry this across the state of Kentucky, because middle class has lost their way in the Bush administration. 81% of the country want to see this country change direction, and I want to be the U.S. Senator from Kentucky that gets that opportunity. I need your help. I need your vote. I can't thank my friends Steve and Heather Henry and Julian Caremore for what they've done by giving me the pleasure of their endorsement, and I'm honored and I'm humbled by it. And I look forward to Tuesday, and I look more forward to November, because it's time to change the direction of this country. Thank you very much.